Stat students, distance learners, I haven't gone over many examples with the geometric probabilities. I know in the DeltaMath intro video, I worked a couple examples and we got you guys on here. If you didn't watch all of that, make sure you go back. I'm pretty sure that I worked several examples from the binomial probability section. I do want to go through and work like one example for each of these geometric probabilities. So I'll probably do the top example for each one of these. So for geometric probability, if we're looking at the question here, we're reading the scenario and it says in a certain large population, 70% are right-handed. You need a left-handed pitcher for your softball team and decide to find one by asking people chosen from the population at random. And then it gives us something else in parentheses. It says, find the probability that the first left-hander you find is the fourth person you ask. So let me make sure that I've got my calculator pulled up. You need to make sure that you have yours as well, and we'll go through these problems. So this is an exact, geometric exact. So you're either going to be using geometric PDF, so it's menu 5.5. So for these problems, when you know it's geometric, you have PDF or you have CDF. This is an exact, we know we're going to be using PDF. So we only have to type in two things. That's sort of the easy part of this, is that you have two things to type in. First, what is your probability of success? Well, we get the probability 70% are right-handed, but you'll notice that that's not what we're interested in. We're interested in the first left-hander, okay? The first left-handed person. So that would be the complement, right? If 70% are right-handed, then 30% or 0.3 are left-handed. And it says find the probability that the first left-hander. So this is why it's geometric. It's trials until first success. If you haven't watched the live geometric lesson, we talked about that when we played the game in class. So you really need to go to sort of, if you watched it all on Play Pause It, obviously it's an assignment this week, but if you need to go to my YouTube to find it as well, you can. Near the very end, if you've already watched the whole lesson, you need a refresher. Go to my YouTube. It says live geometric distribution lesson, and we talk about how to identify geometric situations. So by the first left-hander, it is exactly the fourth person. So we put 4 in here, and there is our answer right there. So when you submit that, it should work. That's how you'll work this one. Let's go back and let's look at the at most, at least scenarios for this. We have a very similar situation here. It's actually the same scenario, and we have left-hander. We want our first left-hander, but it gives us the probability for a right-hander. But what makes this one different is that it's saying what is the probability that you'll have to ask 4 or more people before finding. So that's taking this probability that we found to the right, then we find it for 5, then we find it for 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, all the way forever. And we're adding all those probabilities together. So we need a cumulative function to do this for us. So not just us going through and adding every one. Besides, this could go on forever. We could theoretically ask, thousands of people and we still haven't found a left-hander. Okay, now that's not likely, but it could happen. But this is a cumulative density function. That's what CDF stands for, cumulative. So it's everything added together. So we start with our probability of getting a left-hander, which is what we want, 0.30 or 0.3. We're going to start with 4 people, and then we need to go to, well, how far do we go? Well, this technically could never end. So our way of typing in that, which is infinity, is 9E99. You hit enter. There's your probability that it's going to take 4 or more people. So 34% chance that happens. So it is more likely that you'll find a left-hander before that. Okay. Lastly, we'll talk about geometric mean. Geometric mean is a very simple formula. Very simple formula. In the end of the lesson, this is the answer to the question so we played the game in class, and I was trying to give away bonus points to everybody. However, they were too greedy and pressed their luck. But I asked the question, hold on, let me go back to it. I'd asked this question, at what point should you have stopped playing the game? right? We had this game, the lucky day, and that, you know, you're expected to get the unlucky day at some point, but what number was that? Well, all we had to do to find that expected the expected first success, or that first unlucky day, well, you take 1 divided by the probability. The formula is very easy to use. Very easy to use. So let's go back to this and let's look at this situation. So when a computerized generator is used to generate a random digits, the probability that any particular digit in the set 0 through 9 is generated on any individual trial is 1/10, 0.1, 1 in 10. Suppose that we are generating digits one at a time and are interested in tracking the occurrences of the digit 0. How many random digits would you expect? So once we see that word expect, that's when we know, okay, that's the mean, right, in these random variables. So how many digits would you expect to have to generate in order to observe the first 0, so that first success? So we are going to use the formula 1 divided by p. That's all we need to do. Very straightforward. 1 divided by the probability of success. What's the probability that we're going to get a 0? Well, that's 0.1. Oh, so the answer would be 10. We expect to have to generate 10 digits, and on the 10th digit, that's what the most common occurrence of getting a 0. So that's how you're going to be doing these for all these geometric means and all of that. My other video talked about the binomial, so you need to make sure that you look at that. Let me find that on my YouTube real quick, just to show y'all YouTube. If you go to my playlists, my channel here, you go to Woods Math, go to playlists, and if you go to stats help videos, good grief, that was the beginning of the year. It should be the DeltaMath one. Maybe it's not in this one. Hold on. I think it's just in stats videos. 2020 stats. And we go down. There's a lot of videos in here. The DeltaMath sign up and examples video. The one you want. And I go through a couple examples on here if you need a little bit extra help. I start working through the binomial questions. So make sure that you did not skip that. I believe you had to watch that whole video, so that was on Play Pause It. All right, that's going to conclude this video. If you still need a little more help, reach out to me.